Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone watching. I'm your host, the Report of the Week, and welcome to this newest video. Now, I decided to kind of take a little bit of a break from doing the food reviews because I've had a lot on my mind today, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm being spontaneous. I'm going to sit down and I want to share a few thoughts to you because this has just been one of those things that, it's been circulating in my mind for eons, but I finally wanted to just kind of take this to, take it to paper, just make a video about it, and I wanted to share my thoughts about it. Now, I'm sure, like you see in the title, this video is about fashion. More specifically, it's about suits. And I guess, maybe to some that is like, mind is absolutely blown that somehow this guy that reviews food is talking about suits. What's the connection exactly? Whereas for other people, I'd say, of course. And yes, I do wear the suits every single day. This is my go-to attire, and it has been probably for, gosh, how time flies, for over 10 years now. It's insane how I kind of look back, and I think I've actually been wearing this type of clothing so long, for such a period of time. But more importantly, I wanted to make a video talking about, well, suits in their current form, right? What's going on with the fashion industry? What's going on in the world of suits? And I wanted to share a few thoughts on that. First things first, I get a lot of comments, positive and negative, on what I wear. And I'll say it straight up front, I'll get it right out of the way. When it comes down to wearing a suit in 2019, and I'm talking like you want to look good, right? You want to look fashionable, you want to look up to date, you want to look like you're in touch, right? The stuff that I wear is not the way to go about it. A suit today that is considered good by, society's standards is usually slim fit. It should be, more on the form-fitting side of things. So the jacket, should definitely be a lot. It should not be as loose as this jacket is. It should preferably be a two-button suit with the notch lapel. Should have a little subtle lapel roll, and shouldn't, be like too harshly pressed or creased. The pants should be slim fit, flat front. Definitely need to have that taper there, and the necktie should also be slim in order to accompany the rest of the suit. What I wear is nothing even close to that, and I fully get it. I understand it. The suits that I wear are much baggier, usually double-breasted or three-button suits, wide lapels, drapey, baggy clothing, wide legs, pleats, wide neckties. You name it. Pretty much everything that is not considered fashionable in 2019, you can almost guarantee you'll find in an ensemble of mine. And the reason why I wear it, even with that full understanding, is because I don't necessarily wear a suit to try to look fashionable. I simply wear a suit because that's just what I want to wear. And it's a certain style of suit that was popular at one point in time that I personally prefer. Even though I do know that certain things today look better than others, I just prefer wearing the more dated cuts, and that's just a matter of personal preference. And I think when it comes down to clothing, dressing yourself, in the end, I think you should just wear what you want to wear, Wear what you want to wear, but of course a lot of people want to wear something that other people think looks good, and I get that. And society's expectations, their standards, even just taking a look at the suit, it changes over time. You go back to the 1970s, and you see those crazy disco suits, the 1970s, those polyester suits, the tuxedos with the giant bow tie and the ruffled shirt and all of that stuff. That, there was a time when people thought that looked good. You go to the 1980s, the 1990s, the suits that I wear right now, the Wall Street suits, the contrast collars, the things that you saw in American Psycho, Wolf of Wall Street, the original Wall Street, those types of suits, people thought those looked good. And then you go to the more form-fitting, slim fit, they even have, tight fit, extreme slim fit, etc., that a lot of people think looks good today. So the idea of what is fashionable, what looks good, that's something that always changes with time. And it will change. 10 years from now, who knows what the future holds? It might end up being the same thing, it might not be. But that's a little bit of an aside. Fashion changes with time. And that's just one of the things that it always does, always will do. That's just the way fashion is. But here's one thing that always got me. I was never a big fan of slim fit suits. And there was a time when I was a very vocal opponent of it, believe it or not. Nowadays, I've kind of opened up toward it, and I've said, wear what you want to wear. And that's all that there is to it. But you go back to 2014, and even 2015, I remember I would even outwardly say in some of my podcasts and lectures, I would say, I hate the way that it looks, I think it looks terrible, etc., etc., etc. And now I say, yeah, I'm not a fan of it, I might not like the way it looks, but that's okay. But I was thinking today, it seems to me that slim fit is hanging around for a very long time. And I'm going to give my 2 cents as to why I think that it is. Quite simply, you need to look at the fashion industry as a business. That's what it is when you really break it down and you go down to it, right? If you need to get a suit, you're not going to get it for free. You have to pay for it. It is an industry, it's a business, and what do we all know about businesses? They need to make money, they need to make a profit, they need to be in the green, preferably anyway. You'll have businesses that are just running up a huge deficit, but most of the time, they want to make money. And let's face it, this is the cold, hard truth of the matter, especially when it comes down to men's suits and formal wear. Quite simply, suits are not being worn as frequently as they once were. Now, I think when I say that, it immediately invokes this image of like the 1940s or the 50s and the old pictures when you see a baseball game and everyone there is wearing a full suit and tie and people are going to the beach in a suit. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about even 10 years ago, going back to 2009, 2010. Even that recently, more people were wearing suits than they are now. A few good examples even. You look at Wall Street, right? The financial capital of the world, some will say. I think a lot of people, when you think about Wall Street, bankers, the stock market, you think about people still wearing full suits and ties and all of that stuff. And don't get me wrong, if you go down to Wall Street and for some odd reason you decide to just wander around the streets like a zombie for an hour or two, yeah, you're going to see plenty of people wearing suits and ties. However, you look at the news, lots of these large companies in that industry have gotten rid of their formal dress code, and this is recent. They've gotten rid of that requirement to wear a suit and tie. And a matter of fact, the way you look at it more and more, you'll see that a lot of people in that finance industry aren't even wearing suits to work anymore. They're wearing dress pants and a fleece vest. The Patagonia vests, no tie. Not suits, not like what you would see in The Wolf of Wall Street, but just a vest, some pants, no tie. Look at it this way too. Let's say you don't live in a major city, right? You just live in any town, USA. How many times do you see a person wearing a full suit that isn't on a special occasion? I would be willing to bet not a lot anymore. Yes, there's still going to be the need for suits. You have to go to court. You have a court date. Yeah, you're probably going to have to wear a suit. Wedding, funeral, probably have to wear a suit there too. Go to a really formal event, a formal venue, etc. Yeah, you're going to have to wear a suit for that too. Job interview, maybe. But a lot of these things could even change with the times. One day, the legal system, they may update their dress code and might not have to wear a suit anymore. Job interviews already, you're seeing that getting more and more casual. The suit industry is going through a difficult period of time. With fewer people buying suits, that means less profits. And these companies, they know that. They know that they're getting less sales, fewer sales, and they're trying to think to themselves, okay, what exactly are we going to do? How are we going to get through this? How are we going to get by? How are we going to stay afloat? The answer is simple. Continue to use less and less fabric when making a suit, and continue to put an exorbitantly high markup on the suit in order to compensate for the lack of sales. I think that's exactly what they're doing. Because you look at it from a business standpoint, okay, sales are down, well, let's just say 30-40%. That's a big, huge issue. What are you going to do to try to fix that? Drive sales back up? But what if people don't want to buy the product in the first place? Or there's fewer people around that want to buy it? What do you do then? Sometimes you got to make adjustments to the product if you still want to try to make a profit with fewer potential customers. And that's exactly, in my opinion, what the suit industry is doing and has been doing for the last number of years. Now, that's not to say that slim fit doesn't look good. I might not be a fan personally the way that I think that it looks on some people, but on certain individuals, a slim fit suit can be very flattering, and it certainly can look good. But I think overall the industry is trying to push the idea that the tighter a suit is, the better. And it's just being done because, let's face it, they want to spend less money making a suit, especially if it's of higher quality fabric. The less they have to include in this suit, the better. So they put the absolute minimum into making a suit, and they still charge thousands of dollars for it. That's how they continue to make money. That's how they continue to make profit. And in doing so, of course, they try to run an advertising campaign to try to promote the fact that, suits like this, they don't look good. You should stop wearing them. I mean, that's how fashion is. It's a business. Don't wear the old things. They don't look good anymore. They look boring. They look dated. Be new, right? Be new, be out there, and wear what we want you to wear. That's the way that it goes. So in order to compensate for the lack of sales, fewer material, high markup. That's the way that this industry works. That's how it's been functioning for probably the last decade. And an interesting thing is going to happen soon. Because the way fashion is, like we mentioned earlier, it is ever changing. The fashion industry is going to have to change at some point. But how are they going to change? What is it going to transform into? That is going to be an interesting thing to watch. Sometimes you're already starting to see a few very high fashion brands, trying to open up the suits a bit, trying to go back to more 70s-esque styles, 80s styles. Will those take off? Will they not? Right now we're in this kind of intermediary period where it's just going to be a very interesting thing to watch. You could compare this to a lot of other markets too. You even look at chocolate bars. I was eating a Snickers bar the other day. You see the size of it. The thing is minuscule compared to how it used to be. You even look at the diamond market, right? Diamonds, in and of themselves, are really just useful for industrial purposes, for drill bits, for construction, etc., until a company came along and decided, hey, we can give the idea that this is a precious stone and incredibly valuable, get that idea into everyone's heads, and we'll make a ton of money and we'll be filthy rich. These ideas, these practices in business have been around for such a long time. And now in the suit industry, because of declining popularity and sales, you're seeing it employed there as well. So it's one of those things, keep your eyes open, and who knows what's going to be done next. But in my opinion, that's why suits are the way that they are today. That's why they have been this way for so long, because they have to find a way to make a profit. In the end, though, moral of the story, those are my thoughts, those are my ideas, digging deep into the whats and whys and hows and all that stuff. But in the end, if you want to wear a slim fit suit, go for it. If you want to wear a 1980s suit, go for it. And if you want to wear one of those 70s disco suits, go for it too. Rock it, wear it with pride, wear what you want to wear, as long as it's not hurting others. That's my ideology. You know? You do you, you be you. That's the reason why I wear what I wear today. Not to try to be like one of those Instagram guys, that's always posting the pictures and everything, of the suits every single day, 24/7. No. I just wear it because that's what I want to wear. It's what makes me happy. You should wear what makes you happy too. Thank you for watching this video, and do take care. I'm your host, the Report of the Week.